Hey guys, what's going on? Aaron Bennett here. I am making a video, an updated video with what just happened with the Celsius motions today. I was live tweeting it. I'm going to go over my notes. I am whispering because I'm in a public coffee house right now. So what I want to start out is just going over everything that I wrote down from what happened today in court. I'm then going to briefly talk about all the different groups for clawback, custody, unaccredited earn, loans, and withhold. I am then going to go over what Thomas Braziel said about the hearing as well, in addition to David Adler. So I'm going to give you guys an entire breakdown of what went down. So I'm just going to read over my notes for the beginning of this video. Sussberg, who is representing Celsius, starts out by saying they are trying to address the company's liquidity issue. So in my video yesterday, I talked about how by October, they're not going to have any more money to literally fund their company to keep Celsius going. They don't want a negative liquidity balance. They're trying to get additional capital, literally additional capital to address this liquidity issue. And they said they have multiple offers of liquidity. So there are two ad hoc groups they talked about. The first is the custodial account holder, which is basically U.S. members post-April that were put into the custodial account, or they moved their funds from earn to custody, and there's $180 million in those accounts. There's another ad hoc group with withhold account holders, which has $14.5 million. So both of those lawyers did speak today in the hearing. They did note that there have been no missed deadlines regarding submitting any claims. So right now there is still, again, no deadlines that you have to submit anything by. That will be very, very public, and I will definitely let you know as well. Next, Joshua Pesh, who is from White & Case. He represents the UCC and basically represents us. They said that they realize that customers want in-kind distributions. They don't want to get paid, or we don't want to get paid in USD. We want to get paid in the crypto we put into Celsius, and they are working on that. And actually, the law firm representing Celsius also says that they want to give us crypto back and not US dollars at the time of the bankruptcy petition. So the UCC will scrutinize the debtor's cash flow, meaning Celsius's cash flow, to make sure that they have the best option for increased liquidity, and looking at things like, could Bitcoin mining, selling that Bitcoin, actually help the liquidity? So basically, they're looking at all the options right now to make sure, again, for our case, we get the most crypto back. The UCC believes they're the only one that are really fighting for us. So they are investigating basically where all the coins went, if there was any crappy behavior that needs to be investigated. The judge asked, what is the future of Celsius, basically, if it was mostly an earn account business? Because the judge says most likely this was unregistered securities. And the UCC lawyer said that they're working on making it all legal with regulators again. The judge then asked about Bitcoin mining profitability. The judge says he doesn't even think it's profitable. And later on in this motion, in this hearing, they actually said, yeah, right now the mining business is not profitable because we're deploying a ton of money into infrastructure, into mining hardware, into the electrical costs to get this thing up and running. But it will be profitable in the future, and this is what the firm representing Celsius said. So next, Kyle Ortiz, who is the lawyer representing the custodial account holders, he basically says this should be an easy fix. It's $180 million, and it's like 4% of all the assets. But the judge says that he wants to know whether any employees or insiders were able basically to transfer crypto from the earn accounts to the custody accounts. And the judge wants to make sure that, if he releases this $180 million, that there isn't any insider trading. For example, an employer or an insider knows, oh my gosh, like the company is going down. And rather than withdrawing, they just moved from earn to custody because they thought that would give them more protection. So the judge wants to look into that. The lawyer for the ad hoc representing the withhold accounts also spoke. $14.5 million falls into that group. And this is basically where coins landed if your state did not have a custody account. And they just want a prompt resolution. They want that $14.5 million withdrawn very quickly. So there was a depositor like myself named Stephen Brawlver. If you're watching this, let me know. I thought you were very, very brave. He basically gets up, speaks before the judge, and says he has $500 to his name, and he used Celsius as a savings account. He again says that Alex said that they were always secure, they always had liquidity. Steven said he had $50,000 of USDC, I believe, in his account. And the judge actually agrees. And he says, yes, Alex did say time and time again that they had sufficient money. And the judge just says, yes, your concerns are common and to reach out to the UCC. So I really want to congratulate Steven for being freaking brave. I mean, he's in a rough position. Thousands, tens of thousands of people are as well. So I just want to reach out to you and say, I'm glad that you spoke up. Somebody asked about loans right now and how you can just service them with a wire transfer. And there's really no info for what will happen with that collateral. Basically, there's still a lot of unknowns regarding loans. The judge said that that issue has been received and the UCC is definitely working on figuring out what's going to happen with that. So something that came up, which kind of bothered me, and you'll know why, Kirkland and Ellis, the firm representing Celsius, they said they are not clear on basically how they're going to release collateral right now. Like, let's say you have a loan, you put 4 Bitcoin and then you got 1 Bitcoin loans, you did a 25% LTV loan. A lot of people are like, I want my 4 Bitcoin collateral, right? What Kirkland said is that since a lot of the collateral usually came from the earn accounts, he said it's still not clear if that collateral is technically, in the terms of service, owned by Celsius, which obviously bothered me and should bother you if you are a retail customer and if you have a loan. But he did say that many of the members of the UCC, so we have the 7 people that are representing us, they have loans. So they are going to fight this hard, I'm sure. But right now, it's still not certain what's going to happen, like where that collateral is going to go and all that stuff. We are still in waiting mode. So the next time they're going to be in court is September 1st at 10 a.m. And Kirkland said that they will release by then a more accurate balance sheet and what Celsius has. So what was released yesterday, which I covered in the video, is still preliminary. There's still a lot of questions like I talked about yesterday. So they're going to get more and more information. We're going to get more and more information. The UCC is going to demand more and more information getting closer to September 1st. And on that note, the UCC said that the budget, Celsius's budget, their expenses, all of that will get much more refined as we get closer to September 1st. And the U.S. trustee, Shara Cornell, says that she also wants to get more info regarding Celsius's cash accounts and a budget. So there's a lot of pressure right now on Celsius, and Kirkland and Ellis representing Celsius to give over more transparent numbers. I mean, we still have not actually seen the most transparent financials, which is crazy. We got one when they first filed BK, basically. Then we got another one yesterday, but there's still a lot of questions. And I'll get to that a little bit later in the video. A lot of it having to do with mining, right? We don't know exactly how profitable Bitcoin mining will be once they basically get out of that capital expenditure period like we're in right now. So Kirkland and Ellis basically want Celsius to continue to sell their mined Bitcoin into US dollars to help basically fund more expenditures into their mining business, and also I believe to help pay just for their expenses. He does say though that right now their mining business is cash flow negative because they are building out more facilities in Texas, taking delivery of new miners, power contracts, and all things like that. But he says that once they are done with this, again, capital expenditure period, the mining business will be very cash flow positive, but they have not released exactly the timeline of that and how positive that will be. The judge, the trustee, the UCC, they are definitely putting pressure on basically Celsius and Kirkland to come out with all of those numbers, because that is a part of their plan, basically using the Bitcoin mining to help pay us back. Right now, again, they say it's cash flow negative, so that's not going to work, but they really want to know, okay, at what point will it become cash flow positive? Right now, it's really hard for miners to be positive. I mean, the price of Bitcoin being what it is, basically how much it costs to produce a Bitcoin or to mine a Bitcoin, and then how much you can sell it for, there's very little margin there. So that is some information we will be getting soon. And then Kirkland says they have already invested so much money into the mining business that it would be stupid not to continue to build it out larger and larger and larger. Basically, they said they still have to put a lot of money into this mining business. And part of this time in front of the judge was saying, hey, do you give us permission basically to continue to invest limited cash flow into building our mining company. And I think there was a creditor or someone like myself who was like, hey, we didn't sign up for this shit. Like, we didn't get into Celsius to be a part of a mining company. And that was a big issue, right? Even the judge was like, is Bitcoin mining and is selling Bitcoin that you mined the original reason that Celsius was created? Like, is that what people knew they were getting into? And I knew the judge was asking this because the answer is no, right? We didn't get into this because we wanted to be a part of a Bitcoin mining company. But again, their lawyers, Celsius's lawyers, said, hey, right now, this is the best thing to do to produce income. So they're going to fight for this. So a couple other notes. The UCC is fighting back on severance payments and basically exorbitantly paying employees. So remember, the UCC is working on our behalf. It's working on basically getting us as much money as possible. That's their job. So throughout this entire proceedings that I watched today, I really got the sense that the UCC, the lawyers representing the UCC and us, like, they are really, really, really fighting for us. And there's definitely a clash, you know? You have the Celsius lawyers and then the UCC lawyers, completely different ideas and objectives. It was very, very clear. So lots of motions were approved about normal business expenses, about approving basically like electricity costs, mining hardware. I'll cover a little bit more when I go over to Twitter, but basically the last part of my notes that I want to cover is Kirkland & Ellis, the firm representing Celsius, said that they're still working on the schedules and statements regarding the claims and how they're calculated. So basically, we have not received the schedules and statements, basically how much crypto do they owe us? We have not received that. And really the whole idea about filing a claim will come if there's like a discrepancy. For example, hey, they owe me $100,000, but for some reason it says they only owe me $10,000. Yeah, you're going to file a claim. So that has not even come out yet. So all these questions about claims and all that, again, I have not filed a claim. I will later if there's some discrepancy or if I feel it's necessary. I will include in the description below the UCC Twitter account and also the email. If you're on Twitter, you definitely want to follow their Twitter account. And if you have any specific questions, at this point, it's probably better to email them than me. They are going to be creating a website, and that will be like an entire FAQ website where all of our questions will be answered. So really quick, before I head over to Thomas's and David's Twitter, just going over what they were live tweeting, I want to include this link for you guys. So Plan C created a tweet with 5 different Telegram groups. Now, is all of this necessary? No. But if you want to get more involved and you fall into one of these categories or several of these categories and you want to stay kind of in tune with what's going on, then I will include the links. You can join these Telegram groups. If your money is in the withhold category, if you have loans, if you are unaccredited earn, which most of us are, if your crypto is in custody, or if you want to learn more about how to fight back against potential clawbacks, I will include all of these links in the description below. So this one tweet from Thomas I did cover, but I want to just kind of re-emphasize it again because it's pretty annoying. He says that the debtor Celsius described the collateral that we used to take a loan, that the loans were taken out against earn accounts and collateral was posted. So they're trying, basically Celsius is trying to basically not say that all the collateral is owned by us because it was technically taken out of the earn accounts. It makes my brain hurt, but that's what they're trying to say. So Thomas is going over a couple motions that were approved. We have the ordinary course professionals motion. The utilities motion, like I covered, was approved. Basically all the electricity for mining. Taxes motion, NOL motion. To be honest, I don't know exactly what these all are. I was listening to it, but not a lawyer, but a lot of these just were approved. De minimis asset sale procedures motion, talking about just like selling things and selling assets. And for all these to be approved, the judge needs to approve it. So what happens is that the UCC can object to some of these motions put forth by Kirkland & Ellis, and there's kind of like a back and forth, and ultimately the judge will say approved or not approved. And also the interim compensation motion was approved. So David Adler was tweeting really hardcore, as well as was I during this entire proceedings. He thanks the U.S. trustee, Shara Cornell, for her efforts today. So I trust that he believes that she was doing a very good job. I thought she was as well. She was very on top of it. So somebody asked, is Alex still getting paid? The judge says it's not relevant and basically shut it down. But that's who I mentioned earlier. He basically got that question in there, essentially like, hey, are all these people getting paid and our money is held up? Basically, hey, judge, is this fair? Can you do something about this? Because this is not okay. I'm glad that this claimant like myself got that on the record. So here again, the judge approves the sale of mine to Bitcoin under business judgment standard. He said, I thought that there would be more discussion about the cost benefit of this venture. So the judge does say, well, we do need more information about how profitable this is going to be. But ultimately, the judge said, yes, you can continue to sell your Bitcoin. And Kirkland and Ellis said, quote, inside the 10-yard line on the mining business. David Adler says, I call BS. Essentially, this is their proposition to continue to use their money to build out their mining infrastructure. And David is like, no, I don't think they're being quite honest here. But that's what, again, I talked about earlier, and that's what they're pushing. So the judge asked for all the terms of use from February 2018, which I have covered in previous videos. And the judge did this to trace the regulatory issues. Basically, that's why the judge said, hey, give us all of the terms of use. It ended up being like 1,100 pages, but they did it because the judge wanted to track and trace basically if anything changed, and I believe this will come out more in the next time before the court. So guys, I could make this video longer, talk about more things, but those are the most important things to realize. And just to sum up, I will include all the Telegram links, I will include all of the Twitter accounts to follow for the UCC, and also the email address for the UCC as well. And ultimately, again, right now, there's nothing you need to do. We are waiting for the schedule to come out, again, where Celsius will say this is how much crypto we owe you, or basically how much we're indebted to you, what our debts are. And once that comes out, which will happen hopefully within the next maybe 2 to 3 weeks, then we will have a better idea of what to do next. Will it make sense to file a claim? And how do you do that? Well, there will probably be an updated claim form and then a deadline to file. And I will cover that. Even if I am in a coffee shop, I will get this information out to you guys. So another thing that somebody mentioned just before I end this video is somebody was from South Africa and they said, are you guys fighting for international people just as hard as the US? And the judge said, basically, take that question up with the UCC. My guess is yes. My guess is the UCC understands and knows where everybody lives. And they aren't preferentially fighting for earn accounts in the US above people's crypto that were in South Africa, right? I can't imagine that actually happening. That makes no sense. All right, guys, that's it for the video. Thanks for watching. Sorry for all the noise in the background. I'm doing my best to whisper, and hopefully this mic is doing a good job. And guys, till next time, talk with you soon, and bye for now.